Hi guys, right, I'm going to chill and do a video for you, so catch you in a minute. Hi, welcome to my YouTube. My name is Rosa, they call me my Madud. The topic today is about immigration. I'm not legally trained, not at all, but I've been to the immigration courts several times and I've been representing myself, and I had to represent my siblings, I had to represent my mom, I had to represent my stepdad, I had to represent my stepmother as a Mackenzie friend, because when you're not legally trained, if you're advising somebody, you appear to the courts as a Mackenzie friend. I've also represent my uncle, and because of that experience, I kind of know more about immigration, but I'm not at all advising anybody to go and represent themselves, especially if they don't know about immigration. It's something you don't need to do. You go and seek for legal advice so that you be advised properly. The reason I'm here today, it's just to discuss about several issues which some of the people that I have assisted had problems with their previous solicitors, and it's been very disturbing, where I had to represent my uncle who is illiterate, but the solicitor who previously represented him on matters of immigration, he applied for a student visa on a literate person, which was my uncle, which I did find it very baffling why this solicitor could do such a thing. And the application, obviously, it was refused. I think it didn't make sense to the immigration, to the court where my uncle was represented before by the same solicitor. I've come across several of cases similar to the one I'm talking about, where solicitors, they just take, legal fees from these clients, and knowing what they're advising, it's not what the immigration would consider a proper application. What has happened, I dealt with another case again where this solicitor was given legal fees, I'm talking in thousands, and at the end of the day they never solved the problem. It's not all solicitors, believe me, who are like that. There are genuine solicitors there who are willing to help their clients. So we have few solicitors who are a bit dodgy, who are not honest with their client. So what I would advise you, through the experience that I have, not as a legally trained solicitor, no, as a Mackenzie friend, as I say, I've been to the court several times. When you go and approach a solicitor to represent you, make sure you do ask questions. And if that solicitor is saying something, you have any doubt that it's not making sense, seek for a second legal advice, second opinion. It's important you seek for a second opinion, because what happens is, if you have doubt in your mind that something doesn't sound right, do seek second opinion. By doing so, you're saving yourself so much problems. And I will give you an example. When we go to these courts, these judges, most of the judges, they are so experienced in immigration law that, any false statement, they'll pick it up. Remember, they've been doing this job for a very long time. Your honesty in court, it's usually very helpful, because the judge can see it through you that you've been honest. I'll give you one example. with my stepdad, all I had to prove with my stepdad was to tell the judge to say, his children are here. Is he not allowed to come and visit his children? Of which the judge looked at the immigration officer and asked him that, for sure, Mrs. Lubenda is correct. Is he not allowed to come and visit his children? Again, it made sense to the judge, and he allowed my stepfather to come, even though he was refused on first application. It's the same thing with my stepmom. I went to court. I gave the reasons. On the application, we made sure we provided all relevant documents. And is there any reason why this time round they are refusing? We never gave any false information. We had stated how many times she was refused. So we were being honest by the courts. This time, all the relevant documents I had provided. And again, the judge saw it through that. And the other case, my uncle, I had to tell the judge, he thought he was seeking legal advice to those who were qualified to deal with immigration law, and they betrayed him, because I couldn't understand why a solicitor would apply for a student visa to someone who is illiterate. And I had to show the judge that it wasn't his fault. In fact, he wanted to live in this country legally, but the people whom he had approached, who are supposed to be qualified solicitors, had misadvised him by applying for a student visa, and yet he is illiterate. And the judge was able to see the previous refusal, saw it herself that, he was betrayed by these other solicitors. He thought he had those who could represent him on his immigration status, but they betrayed him because he doesn't know how to read. So the application for a student visa was, if I may say, bizarre. Why would this qualified solicitor put such an application to the Home Office? So these are examples that I need people to know, those without papers or those who are still struggling getting their status. Please, when you go to a solicitor, you have the right to ask the right questions. If you are in doubt whatsoever, double check, seek for a second opinion on a different lawyer, solicitor, and say, look, this is what this other lawyer has said. What do you think? And by seeking second opinion, you will be told whether it's not a good, application which has been submitted, or they'll say, oh no, that is a good application which has been submitted. So this is what I've been trying to advise. I'm trying to advise people to be just wary with solicitors. Most of the solicitors, they are good solicitors, but you have dodgy solicitors here and there who take advantage of desperate people, knowing, they're desperate, don't have even the money, but they still have the money to offer for legal advice or for legal representative. People without any papers, be very, very careful. Seek the proper legal advice and don't be afraid to ask questions. There are good judges. These judges, they are independent judges. They listen to your case. They are not on immigration side. They are just independent judges. If you are very honest with your case, usually judges, they see through you. I think the most important thing you need to know when you're going to the court, just be as honest as you can. Be as honest, have evidence, have paperwork. Then the judges are usually fair. They are fair with you. One more thing I forgot to mention. The immigration rules I'm talking about is the immigration rules of UK. Those are the only rules I'm familiar with, so I don't want anybody to be mistaken that I'm talking about overall immigration in the world. The other thing I needed to touch about is, I know some people are not very honest with our relatives, maybe in Africa, to tell them how difficult it is to actually to get the papers here in the UK. I've helped people who've lived here for 15 years without papers. This is how it shows you how difficult it is to get papers in the UK. And some people are not very honest. They tell their relatives that, oh, if you go to UK and once you settle in the UK for 3 months, 2 months, you get your papers. That is not true. That is not honest, and that is not true. You don't get papers in 3 months in UK. The people I have helped to get the papers have been in UK for 15, even 12 years. There are people who have lived in this country for over 20 years, and they still don't have papers. For someone to say, if you go to UK, you'll have papers within 6 months, that is not true. Whoever tells you that, they are lying to you. I have to be honest with you. They are lying. You don't get papers in 6 months, in 3 months when you come to UK. And as well, when you come into a country such as UK and you come in as a visitor, you cannot change your status from being a visitor to want to live in the country permanent. No, it doesn't work that way. If you come to UK on licensing, they call it licensing, they used to be called work permits, because I've dealt with that side as well, where I had to assist some musicians to come over, because sometimes we promote musicians part-time. If you enter UK with licensing as an artist, musician, whatever you are, you will not come in the country and change that status for permanent residence or a temporary residence. There is no such thing. That is a lie. There is no such thing. The only time you might try to immigration, even that doesn't work in this day and age, to say, oh, you want to seek political refugee. Because first of all, immigration will ask you, you came in as an artist. Suddenly you change, you say you want to become a political refugee. You know, they're not fools. They will know what you're trying to do. So we shouldn't tell our relatives that, you know, it's so easy to get papers in UK. It's not. It's difficult. There are people who are living here in UK for 20 odd years, 15 years, 12 years without papers. So for people to have this fantasy that you can go to UK, once you enter UK, it's easy, I can change, I can decide to stay. You know what? If they decide to stay, they are illegal immigrants. You should know that. There is no way they can get papers within two weeks, 6 weeks, you know, of coming into the country. Because now, usually these days, they say you claim asylum on entrance or you claim political refugee status while you outside UK. The fact that you come in UK as a visitor and try to change it, or you come on work permit and you try to change it, it does not work. So please, we should never tell people that if you go to UK, you can get papers straight away. That's a false statement. That's wrong. I thought I should clarify on that point because people, we are not being honest when we speak to our relatives. Let's be very honest with them and tell them the honest truth. I just wanted to make a bit of a clarification on that. If I've missed something else, please let me know in the comments. And as I say, I'm not legally trained, but because of my experience, this is why I know few things about immigration, and because also I've been to court several times, so I'm familiar with the system. And I've mentioned it from the beginning of the video. Don't try to represent yourself if you don't know how immigration works. And try to seek legal advice, especially if you've been living in the country illegally. So I'm sure I've clarified that. Thank you everyone for subscribing. Comment below. I would like to know your experience, what experience you had previously. Or if you've been treated badly by a solicitor, please leave comments below. I'm happy and I can respond to your questions. If you ever want to ask me anything, I'm happy to respond to you. To those who have subscribed, thank you so much. And please don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, so that if I ever have another new topic, you know, you'll be alerted. And I read all the comments, and I thank you so much for subscribing, and see you on my next video. Bye.